Hello everyone and welcome to Virtual Art Class with the Norfolk Art Center. I'm Sarah Putters and tonight we are doing one of my favorite classes. This is always one of our most popular at the Art Center, so we wanted to make sure we brought it to you virtually. We are making door hangers, fall themed door hangers. So I'm going to walk you through the process. So let's go ahead and get started talking about our materials first. So the first thing you'll need is an actual door hanger. So my crafty little husband cuts these for us for our classes, and we have some here at the Art Center available if you would like to participate in this activity, but you don't have the means or the ability to produce one of these yourself. We have them here. Otherwise, if you want to make your own at home, this is just 1/4 inch pre-finished plywood that he cut into a circle and then drilled a hole in. So if you need some help figuring out how to do that, let me know. Next, I just printed out a little sign that says Happy Fall, and I'm going to use transfer paper, which is what this is, to get the words transferred onto my door hanger. I have a variety of different paint colors that I'm going to use. Again, you can use whatever you want. This is sort of a guided paint, so if I was watching this video, I would follow what I was doing and use the same colors to achieve the same product, but totally up to you. I also have a variety of different paint brushes that will be used for different techniques. I've got tape because part of the activity involves some symmetry, a little cup of water, some paper towels in case I get messy, and a pencil to do my transferring. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So the first place that I'm going to start is if you are working with transfer paper, I have actually taped my words onto the transfer paper just so that it doesn't slip around. If you don't have transfer paper, you could simply do the old school method of transferring, and you could take your pencil and you could color, shade the back of this wording, and then you could lay it on top of your door hanger and you could just trace over the words and it would achieve the same exact thing. But since I have transfer paper, I'm gonna go ahead and use that. So I am going to center this on the door hanger and then just trace the letters. The tracing does not have to be perfect because once you start painting, you can kind of touch up your imperfections if you have any with the paint. However, if you're really precise, that's perfectly fine too. Okay. So now I've got my design traced on here. Once you're done tracing, you can set that transfer paper and template aside. So now that I've got it traced, I am going to take some masking tape, but first I have a ruler. I am going to just use a ruler to eyeball where I want that tape to start, and I'm just gonna mark it on both sides. Okay, so we'll take a little bit of tape. And I am actually taping below the line that I just drew because I'm going to paint everything on top of the tape because I want that to be a different color than the rest of it. And this is just regular masking tape. You could use painter's tape as well if you have that. So make sure that that line of tape is pressed on there really good so you don't get any paint kind of seeping through. And go ahead and wrap it around because when we paint, we're gonna paint the edges of the board also. So we want that design to stay consistent. Now this taping is completely optional based on the style of the design that you want to do. If you don't want to do the taping, if you have something else in mind, definitely do that. This is just the steps for the guided version of this activity. Okay, so now I've got it taped, and I'm going to paint black on the top and black on the bottom. So what I'm going to do, I did not put my black paint in a portion cup. I am just going to put the paint actually straight on the board. If you're doing it like this, make sure you don't just put a giant glob of paint on there because it'll take forever to dry. So just use a little bit. A little bit of acrylic paint goes a lot further than you think. So as you can see, I've got just kind of a little dot of paint on there. And I am using just a big brush to get lots of coverage. And you'll notice, obviously, I'm adding some more paint. It's better to add it in layers like this than it is just one big glob, because like I said, one big glob of paint will take forever to dry. So if you're like me and you're the instant satisfaction type of person, you're not gonna wanna wait for that paint to dry forever. And there really is no rhyme or reason to brush strokes in this class. If you want all of your brush strokes to go one way, you certainly can, but it does not matter. In some other activities, it kind of matters a little bit more, but this one, not so much. Make sure you've got a nice even coating of paint on there. So then I am gonna paint my sides so that when I hang this on my door, it's all completed and nothing is completely standing out as though it looks like it might be unfinished. So I am just gonna dab just a little bit of paint on the end of my brush to get the edges covered. Now for this activity, we are using acrylic paint. So acrylic paint will stain your clothes, your workspaces. So just be very careful if you're doing this activity with your kids or on your kitchen table that you don't want stained. Just be very careful with the paint or with your clothing. I'm gonna come back to the bottom because I wanna trace my words first. So I'm going to go ahead and just take this top piece of tape off. Super satisfying. So we'll reveal just our perfectly painted line up on the top. So now with my lettering, I have chosen two colors. So I've got kind of a sparkly bronze color and I've got just a brown color. They kind of complement each other. So I'm gonna use those for the lettering. And the lettering works better if you have a really small, sort of flat brush, depending on the font of your template that we used. Now, you could also freehand your design if you want to. I'm just not good at that, so I prefer to work from a template. But if you've got a really steady hand, you could certainly freehand it. And so the same sort of thing applies to the lettering as we did with the black paint. You don't want just a huge glob of paint because one, it'll take forever to dry, but two, because it won't look very nice when it's all finished. It'll look like you put a big glob of paint on your door hangers. My letters traced. I've got the top painted black and I haven't decided what I'm gonna do with the middle yet. I don't know if I wanna paint it black or if I wanna do white. I'm thinking that I'll do a white stripe behind happy and then I'll do black around fall, because if I paint black behind the happy, I think it's gonna be too dark. So this is where I decided right in the middle that I was going to change my design. So I know that's maybe a little confusing for you guys at home, but this is kind of what happens in an art project. So I'm going to keep painting. At the very end, I'll show you the finished project, and I hope you're having fun with this. Okay, so now we are all done with our door hanger. So you can see I kind of switched my design up right in the middle. I had originally planned to do half black on the top and half black on the bottom under fall, and I was gonna do white throughout the whole middle, but I wanted this bronze color to stand out a little bit more, and I thought that it would stand out more against the black than it would white, so that is why I made that decision. So after I was done doing all of the painting, I went through with just my tiny little brush and I touched up the words just a little bit. Now, if you are hand painting something, you need to understand it's never going to be absolutely perfect. So be proud of what you made. Use this little hole right here to stick a ribbon through and hang it up on a command hook on your front door, and enjoy a little fall decor for your home. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a great night.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. I'm Dustin Southford, the Marketing and Membership Coordinator here at the Norfolk Arts Center. And if you're not a member yet, I'd encourage you to think about signing up. There are great benefits and it helps support the arts. Find out more information at norfolkartscenter.org.